morning once again, and welcome to FinTech Abu Dhabi. My name is Hadley Gamble. I am CNBC's senior anchor and international correspondent based right here at Abu Dhabi Global Market, and I am thrilled to be on stage with these two gentlemen today. Your Excellency, welcome. And John Collison, of course, he is the president and co-founder of Stripe. I'm very, very excited to have you both joining me this morning.
Thank you.
So, just to get a sense of where we are today, Your Excellency, you're the man who built Dubai. But today we're talking about digital infrastructure, and it's something that you've taken some serious risks to get into.
With my age, it's very risky, yes.
Walk us through how you see the landscape in the region and specifically in the UAE today.
I don't think you can look at the landscape in the region without looking at what's going on globally. I think you can look at the region just by saying that most of our population are young, and they're tech savvy, and they spend probably 11 hours on their phone instead of average global 5 hours, right? Just because of age. So it's the global trend that's basically services are all becoming digital. I know a lot of people talk about the virus situation, and COVID have enhanced that. I think it did enhance it, but I think the world is moving that way so fast, faster than we think. And I think societies demand it. They are used to it. One of the greatest lessons I had is that about 2 years ago, I got I was paying the credit card bill for the house, and then when I looked at the transactions, which my wife doesn't like me to review, actually 80% was food delivery. 80% was food delivery. And that's just a small lesson of what's going on in the world. I don't want to tell you that we have 2 central kitchens in my house. 2 central kitchens, right? And I think most of local people here, they have big kitchens in their homes. But the trend is changing. Maybe soon in my real estate business, I have to build an apartment with no kitchens. Who touches the kitchen anymore? I think we probably need a cappuccino machine. That's about it, right? But now they deliver cappuccino too, right? So I think it's the global trend. I don't think it's really so much of the region, but I think the region, the younger population, plus, I guess, the world is connected, right? I mean, we all watch the same social media platforms, same YouTube channels. Digitally, we are so connected. We know what's going on, and this technology is just making our life easy. So it's non-stoppable.
At this point, the latest figures have the e-commerce market in this country alone to be valued over $27 billion by next year, and that's only set to grow. John, when you think about what you were able to do, you kind of took the UAE market by storm, and we talk about digital transactions. Back in 2020, height of the pandemic, they were at $18.5 billion. Where do you see that number headed in next year?
So, we're seeing exactly the phenomenon you talk about, which is, especially during COVID, so much moving online, and so it's really given a fillip to the digital economy. If you look at the numbers, we're seeing in the region a doubling of the e-commerce market over a 4-year period. I think that's that's borne out in all of our first-hand experiences, like you say, with the credit card bill. And so I think the digital economy is really having a moment here, and as a result, digital entrepreneurship is starting to have a moment as well. When we survey the young population here, the majority of them are interested in starting a business. And so again, I think you're seeing that borne out by the recent energy and the results and the enthusiasm you get in the sector.
When you think about that with regards to the numbers, not everybody can be an entrepreneur. At the same point, what kind of advice would you give to folks in this part of the world specifically about getting started, and where do you see those opportunities?
My advice would be that sometimes there are really big, interesting opportunities hiding in plain sight. I think it's sometimes hard to see that things could be better than they were previously. But say if you look at, one of the things we are most excited about here is the fintech boom. You have 500 fintechs here already, and a huge number presumably to come. I'm really excited about the plummeting cost of starting a business. His Excellency referred to all the declining costs related to the the steps that go into starting a business. And so, the promise of technology is meant to be better, faster, cheaper. I think historically, financial service has been somewhat resilient to that. We are now seeing it with some of the exciting fintechs that are coming along. And so again, my advice to people would be to spot the opportunities that are hiding in plain sight.
Your Excellency, move on from that in the sense that you've been operating in this market.
Make a comment here? What I really feel is that I think this digital economy, call it whatever you want to call it, social media economy, I think entrepreneurs are exploding because everybody's doing his thing out of their home. They're selling on social media. They try one thing, it fails. They try the other thing. And especially in the local population, the number of young boys and girls who are doing different things, and they're not even registering themselves with anybody because we're used to that old tradition. Let me start a business. Let me register this thing. There's none of that is existing. So these guys, they sort themselves out. They put it on social media. They try this merchandise. That worked. Or try this product. It worked. Then they grow. It doesn't work. They try something else. So what I like about what's happening is that it's so easy to start. It doesn't cost you anything. And if it fails, the loss is small, and it's very easy for you to jump and start. And I really believe that is the greatest thing that's happening in the region.
You get infrastructure. You get it. You get that model. You get that business. When you think about what happens next beyond e-commerce, where are the places to put your money and investment? Are we talking about cell phone towers? Are we talking about data centers? Where would you invest?
Well, we had a conversation with somebody just before this morning. And for me, for example, I focused very honestly on 3 businesses. I have e-commerce, I have food, and I have real estate. And with my age, I don't think I should start anything else because I think my IQ is dropping, and I don't think I can learn anything else. So I would say that I think if you are able to get the talent, because the biggest challenge nowadays is that where is the talent? Where are these people who are going to really do this thing day and night? And I'll give you a small example. If you look at our Noon business, these people are warriors. They are not human beings. They're battling, they're battling Amazon every single hour. They're battling Delivery Hero every single hour. So you need special caliber of people to do this. But I would really just go back and say, listen, I will depend on young entrepreneurs with their ideas. If it's really fintech, if it's e-commerce, if it's even industrial, I don't mind even going industrial. But it's just where can I get the good talent that can run these programs or run these ventures? That's key for me.
Yeah. John, weigh in on that as well, because when we talk about the business beyond Stripe, where do you see the need for further investment to do what it is you guys do?
First off, I think there's an ongoing need for capital, and obviously that is, again, headed in the right direction, where this year is, the first half of this year was larger than 2020, and so on a run rate basis, it's starting to double. I think you spoke about talent. I think that's, clearly an important input, and again, it feels like one of the changes of the past 2 years has been that you have a much wider hiring pool available to you, and so that has made the talent question somewhat easier. I think also one of the strengths that we have here is that people are very eager to move. It's an area that's very open to immigration and historically has been, and so I think that helps with the talent question. And then I think again you need the entrepreneurial drive and the people with the ideas to go, start this stuff. And again, I think that's headed in the right direction. I think, as an example, in the latest Y Combinator batch just gone by, there were 8 startups from MENA. That's, a record in terms of what you usually would have seen there. But again, I think there's probably a lot of room to grow there.
And I would like to say that if you're talking about startups, and I think, say, Noon was a startup, okay, it's 5 years old. But then again, funding is a serious issue in the region. And really, if it wasn't for the sovereign fund from Abu Dhabi, I don't think there will be a Noon today, truly. So you need somebody who believes in the mission, who willing to fund and willing to go the long term. So today, you've got a global champion and a regional champion, Noon. But if it wasn't for the funding from the Abu Dhabi authorities, I don't think there will be a successful tech platform, because it's a platform, it's not an e-commerce company, that really battles the big boys and beat them every single morning too.
When you think about this, John, weigh in on this one for me, because obviously I was speaking a little earlier to Kevin O'Leary, and we were talking about cryptocurrencies live on CNBC, and he was essentially saying, when I look at this, I look at them more as software. In your position at Stripe, when you think about crypto today, do you have a preference in terms of what looks attractive to you? I mean, do you think about Bitcoin? Do you think about Ethereum? Do you think about the digital currencies that we're seeing being developed by governments?
Well, crypto obviously means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and so there's probably aspects to crypto, like people investing, speculating, however you want to position it in cryptocurrencies. That's kind of not that relevant to what we do at Stripe. What we are quite interested in is cryptocurrencies have been around for a long time, right? They actually predate Stripe. The Satoshi white paper was in 2008. We started working on Stripe in 2009, launched in 2011. So we've been following on all along. But one thing that's interesting to us is that there have been a lot of developments of late with an eye to making cryptocurrencies better and, in particular, scalable and an acceptable cost as a payment method. And so you have, the layer 2 chains like Lightning. You have efforts like Solana, which is a dedicated chain towards payments. I think all of that work is really interesting because we are interested in bringing more people into the global economy at Stripe. We're interested in letting a business that's based here in Abu Dhabi sell to people all around the world. That's what those businesses do on Stripe. In countries where you have really well-developed credit card networks or bank transfer systems, then maybe the differential value of crypto is not that high. But that is not all countries around the world. And so as we think about at Stripe, global coverage, then you start asking the question of, is crypto an interesting way to complement that?
It's a form of payment that you're ready to start accepting anywhere in the world?
Well, we don't yet, but I think it's not implausible that we would.
In terms of a timeline with that one, it's difficult to understand where certain governments are when it comes to cryptocurrencies. But at this point, Mohammed, when you think about what happens next right here in the UAE has been at the forefront of so much. We see that happening right here with FinTech Abu Dhabi. How quickly do you think that we could see a digital currency or a stable coin?
Well, when you read, all of us, we read about crypto, and some of us use it. But, it reminds me how the internet started. It reminds me of the beginning of the internet. And today, I guess about 120, 140 million people deal with crypto. So this is the beginning of a new internet. Trust me, knowing the authorities in the UAE, I think probably the UAE will be at the front of the line when it comes to most acceptable, respected regulations. The whole world is moving that way, but definitely the UAE will be up front.
John, before we wrap it up, because I'm being wrapped early, I wanted to just ask you, when you think about it with the numbers, Stripe at this point is worth upwards, I think, in the last valuation above, 95 billion. This is a company that you and your brother created yourselves. You're worth more at this point than I think Uber and Facebook before they went public. How do you know, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, when it's time to go public?
We're very happy as a private company, and I think for us, part of that, and part of where our patience stems from, is the fact that it feels like we are very early in Stripe's journey. And you might say, okay, that's what everyone says, but genuinely, you start looking at it. We launched here in the UAE in June only, and we've seen this kind of massive ramp up, and that's before we have started, what we're planning on doing next is expanding more broadly across the GCC region, and again, making it so that we have lots of customers here from, it would be the, large companies like Deliveroo using us to expand in the region, small startups like we have Squat Wolf, which is an e-commerce company, and again, they use us to sell all around the world. But this is a massive region that is just starting to inflect in terms of its own growth, and we just arrived here in June, and so it feels like we are very early on that journey. We're still very heavily investing, so not in the immediate cards.
So in the timeline, you've still got far to go, you might say. Excellent. Gentlemen, I'm afraid I've been wrapped. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you once again to the audience.
Thank you so much.